Hi, and welcome back to another Leanademy video. I'm Lauren Heisey, and today on this video, we are going to be looking at the analyze phase. So if you remember, we've already, I've recorded two previous videos on the DMAIC roadmap and define and measure, and now we're moving into analyze. So let's move right on in. So analyze, this is where we're going to analyze the problem. We're going to do some root cause analysis. We're going to use tools to identify the potential causes and help us get to those critical X's, those X's that are causing most of our pain. And then we're also going to look at graphical analysis because pictures are worth 1,000 words. So let's talk a little bit about identifying those root causes, right? Non-graphical tools that we can use to help us identify that. And this is where I think about brainstorming. There are many different ways to use brainstorming, but when we start to think about, we did a detailed process map. Now we're going to move into the 5 whys, into a fishbone diagram, or even into an FMEA, right? So we're moving from the process mapping tools to identify the root causes. And we use 5 whys where we keep asking why to uncover those actual root causes. A fishbone allows us to identify, explore, and graphically display the possible causes related to the problems. We also can use an input map. And here we can also use what we call FMEA, or failure mode effective analysis, where we review the process to identify the potential failure modes and their causes on the effects. You don't have to use every one of these tools. If you are participating in a project, you may use the 5 whys in conjunction with the fishbone diagram or with the FMEA and the input map. Now we start to take a look at graphical analysis. Now that we might have uncovered some stuff with brainstorming, then it helps us to start to use graphical analysis. And also, if you are some of the higher level belts, will start to use some statistical analysis to uncover things. But when we look at graphical analysis, we want to take the guesswork out of making those decisions, right? So now that we've identified possible X's, we need to understand what direction to go in. And so a picture is worth 1,000 words and provides a way for us to make sense of the chaos. So graphical tools that can point in the right direction are going to be a histogram, a box plot, time series chart, a Pareto chart, or scatter plots. As a white belt, white belts just need to know about these tools, not how to construct them. That's what your higher belts would do, like a green belt or a black belt. If you'd like to learn more about how to use these tools, please use the link below to go back to my website and check out our training options. So what is a histogram? A histogram is a simple and powerful tool. It's usually one of the first tools we use to plot the data over time, to look for patterns, to develop a fact-based theories, right? So a pattern of variation can lead us to discover additional patterns. So here, if you look, there's a pattern 1 where we have when we look at it in a time series, you see there's a clump of data happening here. And then we have another pattern with this other bar here. It just kind of helps us to figure out which ways we need to start going with the data. I think you see there's another pattern there as well. A Pareto chart is a great tool as well. But this comes to be what we do is we look at the Pareto principle. I've already touched upon this in previous videos, right? So we use the 80-20 rule. So roughly 80% of the problems are caused only by 20% of the contributors. So we frequently solve problems by identifying and solving those critical X's. It's an important tool in the toolbox because to help direct you to find the critical X's from that brainstorming exercise. So here, for example, this one's for accounting error codes, right? So maybe as we started to look at in a fishbone diagram, we identified like data entry could be an issue, wrong billing code, compensation error, duplication error, principal error, all these different errors. And what we are trying to find here is that we're just looking to see where 80% right here. If you think about this, if we go down here and look at 80, you can see here that we really have these are our critical axes, and these are things we probably should deep dive into to see what's really causing our problems. This can also help you scope out your project. Say you have many different business units that you need to take a look at. maybe within accounting, as an example. Maybe you just do a deep dive into the different business units, and maybe you scope your project just to look at those different business units that are causing most of the pain, right? So remember, 80% of the problems are caused only by 20% of the contributors. So think about that, your critical X's. All right, a scatter plot. A scatter plot explores the possibility of relationships between two variables, right? So this one, we're looking at BMI, or the percentage of fat. So usually the theory here is as the percentage of fat goes up, the higher BMI is going to be. If there's their association, a linear superstation will be representative, meaning like this. This is a linear association right here. It can also go this way as well. Warning, big thing here I want you to think about. Even though it looks like there's a relationship, it does not imply causation. This is not a statistical tool. It's just a graphical tool. So you want to investigate that relationship. Next, we're going to move into a box plot. Box plots are a great tool to use. It's a great tool to show variation in the data set. And you can see the variation here by the stars and how long these box whiskers are. It's very useful in working with many different sets of data in one graph. So maybe you're looking at different locations, different types of products, different error codes, different times of day, like different shifts. It just comparing to see where the most variation is happening. It's just a great graphical representation of another way to look at your data, right? And so here we think about median. The median is that middle line, and then variation is shown by the what we call whiskers here. And then, of course, we see skewing happening here within the data. And then, of course, these little stars are our outliers, things we should go investigate. This just happens to also show the different variation that you might be experiencing within your process. And then we're going to take a look at a time series chart. So a time series chart is just a very basic chart. It's time series or run charts, observe data over some time. It's really the first raw look of data over time. So instead of maybe plopping it into a control chart, maybe a green belt or a black belt will look at it just to run chart to see what's going on. The data has been manipulated, but it is in chronological order. Y is the axis, right? So this would be completion time or lead time, cycle time, anything like that. And X is the run order. This is the time that it's happened. And you can also put dates in there. What we're looking for is for trends or outliers within the process, right? So this is going to be our trend here, what's happening. And then these are what possibly look like our outliers. All right, that is basically what we do in Analyze. We are just looking at analyzing the problem and understanding what our understanding